Nita Whitaker is a singer and songwriter who has performed on stage as well as the big and small screen. She's co-produced 4 independent CDs and has sung duets with opera singer Andrew Bocelli and singer-songwriter Michael Bolton. Also an author, her newest book, When Your Hand is in the Lion's Mouth, The Life and Wisdom of a Man Named Green, is a love letter to her father. It tells the story of his faith and the love for his family and community. Please welcome Nita Whitaker.
So great to interview you.
Thank you. Happy to be here. Thank you.
Of course, people here in the house and on television love you. You've been singing with this ministry for years, and I think this is the first time I've ever interviewed you.
I think there was one other time at the other church.
With your daughters, is that it? Yeah, that's right. I remember that. That's right. Well, welcome back.
Thank you so much.
I'm so excited to get a chance to talk to you. Was it true also, I was trying to remember, didn't you sing in The Bodyguard? Weren't you the Oscar singer?
That was me.
I remember that. That's amazing.
If you blinked, you'd miss me, but that was me.
No, I went back and looked because I love that movie.
Yes.
And you, that's cool.
I actually did the demos for that song, so I was the first one that laid a vocal to that song. I have nothing.
Is that the, I have nothing.
Yes.
Can you do it? Do it real quick.
I have nothing if I don't have you.
Oh, that's great. Making me blush. That's great. Amazing. Well, for those who maybe have just started watching Hour of Power or haven't heard your music, tell us a little bit about like your faith journey.
Well, I was steeped in church from the time I was a very little girl. My mother and father were very involved in the church. My dad came from a family that was very involved in church. So we were at church Monday through Sunday. It was an everyday, and it was just part of my life. So I grew up with this faith culture, and my father exemplified so much of that because he didn't just talk the talk, he walked the walk.
Yeah.
He did all of it. He just lived in that. He led with love. He had a deep faith, and you can't live with someone and some of that not pour onto you.
Yeah.
So he poured into me, and just the way that he lived his life spoke volumes. I accepted Christ at a very young age. I was 6 years old. I was very clear about it. There was no pressure. No one said anything to me. I just said, Daddy, I want to do this. And he said, okay. And so I was baptized at 6. And I remember that's the first time I saw my daddy cry. And I said to him, don't cry, Daddy, don't cry. This is a good thing.
Yeah.
He said, yes, it is, baby. But it was, and he reminds me that I sang my first solo at 3, which I have no recall of, but my entire family tells me this, that it was after Sunday school. And I had just grown up. Mother said before I could even knew the words, I would just throw my head back and just sing the vowel sounds.
Yeah.
And so this particular Sunday, my dad said, I said, Daddy, I want to sing. Church was over. And someone said, this baby is saying she wants to sing. So they put me on the offering table. And I sang, Yes, Jesus Loves Me. That was my first solo.
Wow.
Yeah.
So is that, it's amazing how often you hear some of these big singers, how important church was for them singing as children and falling in love with music. I think that's true of Justin Bieber and Christina Aguilera and others, Was that important to you? Like, is that where your love for music began, or where did your love for music?
Absolutely. I talk about it in the book. I have a chapter called Give Me That Old Time Religion. I grew up in a Black Southern Baptist church in the rural area. It was just magical. The music, there was just maybe a piano. I don't think initially there was an organ, but there was a sound like a roar that would hang in the roof of that building, and the harmonies and the feet on the planks and the chair. It was just a sound that to this day savors in my heart and speaks to me deeply.
I'm loosely familiar with that because after I made a commitment to be a Christian when I was 15, the first church I went to, because where I got saved, they told me to go to Crenshaw Christian Center, which was a Black Pentecostal church in Crenshaw.
Yes.
And I was like one of the few white guys there, but it didn't matter. Everybody loved me. But the funny thing was the pastor used to get so upset because people would come from the music. And then when you get up to preach his sermon, a bunch of people would say they're going to the bathroom and they'd leave.
That happened in our church too, because the music was it.
So good. It was so good. And that was the highlight for me there. I don't remember a lot of the sermons, but I remember the music.
The music gets in where nothing else does.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, words can speak at you and not to you, and sometimes they can speak to you, but the music gets in the cracks, and so the music really spoke to me.
My Grandpa Schuller used to say every great movement had its own music. Like if you look at these movements, they have a song or something to them, and that seems to give them power and longevity. Yeah. So this book, I'm so excited. It's called When Your Hand is in the Lion's Mouth, The Life and Wisdom of a Man Named Green. That's your dad.
That's my dad. And I'm wearing green.
And you're wearing green, perfect. You said something about how this is almost like a love letter to your dad in a way, isn't it?
Well, I believe what I wanted to do was I had the blessing of a great dad. Not everybody gets that. But what he showed me was something I thought were universal lessons, and what he taught me were lessons I thought we could all use as we continue to walk this thing called life. Some of them are simple, practical wisdoms, just everyday things that you can use, something that makes you think. But he always had a way of understanding the love in everything and the faith in everything. And he gave me these little gems. Every chapter title is something he said, experienced, or witnessed. So I really wanted to share my dad because he gave me so much of that hard-earned, hard-loved wisdom that I thought I could share it with all of you, and hopefully we can all take these gems with us and live life a little richer, a little fuller, a little more faithful.
And of course you're a parent now too, so you've been able to put some of these into play with your own kids.
Absolutely.
What do you think people will learn and take away if they really dive into this book?
That love always wins, that we are not destined to become something just because of our circumstances, that we are not what happened to us, and that with faith and love, we can all get to this thing called life.
Wonderful. I love it. The book is called When Your Hand is in the Lion's Mouth by Nita Whitaker. Nita, thank you so much for being with us. I'm so excited about your book.
Thank you.
We love your music, so thank you for being here.
I appreciate you having me.
Thanks
Thank
so
you.
much. God bless.
Thank you.